So what I do first is creating my function with, well, a name, etc. And then I put the variable floor that I use on a lot of attack that is able to detect the floor of the map. Then I'm going to the function to put the parameter and information about those parameters, like what type of thing they are. Model is a part, range is a number, mouse vector, mouse is a vector tree, so a vector 3D. Then after that, I create a new variable b that will be a clone of the model and b.cframe equal cframe.new where I put the position where the ball spawn, where it will look, and cframe.angle to have all the information about the angle, which is something very important because sometimes your object will not really be like you want and face perfectly what you want. Then I create new pose that will be used later. And then I create the parent of the attack. So now that I have done that, what I will do is edit one of my tools to rename it to the name of the attack and also put the function of the attack and complete it, like putting everything, all the parameters that I need to put for it to work. So now what I do is, first, outside of the testing, I create a script inside the bowling ball where I will put a lot of important information that I will take from my bone script, like for example, all the parameters of the recast that I will use. Again, the map, because it's important for the recast to know where the map is, since it will use the map to bounce off, more precisely the wall of the map, and other things that are into the map folder, the wall folder of the map. So here I also fix a few things about the orientation, like for example the mouse, and the fact that it doesn't really spawn like I want. And here I use new pose and use it for the C flame to gain a space and activate the script of the attack. But since we still have to do some tests, I prefer deactivated the script enable equal to. It's just easier to have it put in advance, but first we need to do, well, test to see if things work properly. So that's something important to know. And there is also the fact that I need to verify that the orientation of the ball is the good one. And as you will see, there is problem with the orientation. Like as you can see, it goes straight forward, it doesn't point to where I clicked, which show a problem in the script and in the orientation of the mouse. Well, of the ball with the mouse. So after checking a bit, and I will also spell you a few parts where I tried a bit more to just because I had a big doubt if it was me that I made a mistake or something like that. But when I started to spam everywhere the ball and saw that there was nothing and that it was always the same orientation, I realized that I was the one at fault on that part, which was pretty obvious. So to be sure that I wasn't mistaken, it was not just a problem like, well, it worked well, but there is some problem. I edited the movement script of the ball just to verify that effectively it was totally moving at the wrong place, which will confirm my doubt that I had of the fact that the ball orientation didn't work and was absolutely not changing at all, which is problematic. Also put in a print to be sure that when it touches the wall, it at least prints something to also at the same time verify that the raycast was working, because a raycast that doesn't work is a problem. Or that you said it wrong and raycast at the opposite of where you want it to go, which can happen, but it's still annoying if you don't pay attention. And here, as you can see, it go on my side, which is absolutely not where I clicked, so it confirms the suspicion of it not working properly, but of still changing its orientation a bit in function of where I click, but not properly. So I decided to edit a bit the C-frame angle to be correct. And after this change, effectively, the ball was going at the good place, which is good to be fair. It's what we want, for it to go where we clicked. And as you can see, it worked far more properly, and the raycast work. So it's two good things. because otherwise it would be pretty annoying if things didn't work it properly. So after that testing is done, I can first edit a bit the raycast to be more like I want. For example, I want it to bounce off, but with a for loop, not sure that it will even bounce one if we try to go far away. So I put a while loop instead with a CD on that loop that will be able to control far more easier, since I can just put a task.delay.function to be able to edit the CD wherever I want after how many times, and this is what I do. I use task.delay.function. I put my time, so something pretty long to have still a bit of time for it to bounce around. Even as you will be able to see, it often bounces very close to other wall. So sometimes it bounces in a small corner for like a few sec before finally stopping and going somewhere else. So also have to put all the other information that I need, like for example, what happened when the ball finished to bounce, or that it bounced on something, or that it detects the wall. And first, obviously, I start by doing what happened when it detects the wall, or any other decoration that is in the wall folder. So here we'll be able to see that I struggled a bit with it because, as you can see, I have done p.cframe plus equal, and you will see later that it caused a few issues and that I took a bit of time to realize the problem. So you have been able to see there was an error. It was due to the plus equal. And note that I removed the plus equal to just put equal. You will see that suddenly it works far more well when you do the thing properly with the good indication. And here it starts to bounce, which is totally what we want. It's pretty much random, so sometimes the bounce is pretty shitty, but uh, that's something that happens when you use something that is random. So now that we have seen that the bouncing work well properly, which is what we want, I want also the ball to be destroyed when when it stops to bounce, because there is no reason for it to just stay here forever. And we also need to take another thing to account, the fact that the ball needs to damage the opponent. Otherwise the attack is a bit stupid. So I again grabbed some code from some of my other attack to gain time, because having to typing everything back when you already have it is a bit useless. So as you can see here, I'm starting to put all the things related to damage, and also took attention to the fact that right now the ball is instant. So I put a toss.wait and a small amount of time to let someone that tried to get close to you not be instantly damaged by the ball that thrown on him when he didn't even have the time to react. That would be pretty unfair otherwise. So I also create a CD that will put to true, so like that it cannot directly damage the opponent, because I just want to always be sure that I don't damage people for nothing. Even if normally, due to the task.wait, it should be fine, but just in case. So after that, I also want a few other things to be done. Like a few things that I want to add later down the line are VFX, a sound effect also, and explosion. So here I'm taking an old explosion that I made script and I wipe everything out of it, because most of it will be redone and in a very small way that will be far more easier. But I still want to have the size attribute that we will use later, because with the size attribute, we'll be able to make the explosion more modulable if we want. Even if it will most likely need for that all a new version of the bowling ball, or adding new parameters inside our module. But that's not what we are doing here. So first, what I want is an attribute. Because here I wanted to put an attribute because I wanted to connect the explosion with the bowling ball directly. But I realized that it was probably not worth it, and I prefer to use the local and directly go to the path of the explosion. So here it just what I do is just like simple usage, setting attributes, cloning something, putting the part with parent, etc. So now we can focus on the explosion. So I did disable the script. As always, I prefer the script to activate after I parented everything, just in case. Normally, nothing should happen until it's parented, but I prefer it like that. But totally depend on the person. So here I create again variable and person like TS for for the twin service that we'll use for the explosion. We'll make the explosion grow using a twin. So here it's just putting all the small variable, twin, damage, etc. Nothing very important. So as you can see here, there was a small error. So an error that we'll fix by just putting a dot between script and enabled. So I could add a few things, but now we'll add, since I just fixed a few things, that was mostly the script that enable. I added an explosion VFX. So here you can see that I forgot to put the volume properly. But now we have an explosion sound effects that will be used and played when there is when the explosion happen. So here I just do the simple p dot name of your sound effect and play, which like that will play once or sound effects and it will be good. So now that the sound effects are done, I will just go and grab a visual effect on the toolbox. So that's one of I have a place with a lot of VFX that I have found on the toolbox, and I'm gonna use this one because I found that it looked pretty good. I wanted to do a custom one, but I realized that I'm pretty shitty at VFX, so I just used this one and edited it a bit, mostly with the amount of emission, a bit of the color, and things like that. So I will spare you the rest of the VFX moment because it's really not that interesting. So now that I have my VFX, I'll just put the thing that I use for uh, spawning VFX, the script that I use, uh, that use some remote event. And then I also put a task.delay function for this to destroy the ball, because if you destroy the ball but that the VFX aren't done, the VFX also disappear, which is not what we want. We want the VFX to still finish their full time of life and not just despawning mid-usage.